did you see that I finally got the table done right this time?
So fancy.
Better glasses this time, so that Mr. B1 is not going to complain about drinking out from a plastic cup.
Blame me.
Welcome to episode 2 of the Design Betches. So I think that it'll be interesting to talk about an event, a major design event that's just happened last week. Okay, by the time this goes out, it'll be maybe like a week plus or so.
But it's still relevant because Singapore doesn't have really exposure to many shows like this. If this is the show.
In Singapore, so in Singaporeans will fly out. Okay, let me talk about this first. We're talking about a design exhibition that happened at MBS last week. It's called Fine. And I have some very strong feelings about it after I visited it. And he was a bit shocked.
Yeah, she got so emotional. I was like, calm down, who hurt you?
Yeah, so I think it's important to have exhibitions like that in Singapore because I mean, aside from Fine, I don't really see any other things that's sort of happening in Singapore.
There isn't, because most of them have been dropped, essentially. There were more, right?
It seemed like there were more before, maybe in the 2010s, the mid-2010s. Then I was
just a young lad back then, so I can't relate.
Oh, so young, huh? Yeah, it's important to have exhibitions. If not, we will have to fly out to the other countries for other kinds of exhibitions like this. Is representative of Singapore design, I think.
It should.
Should be
it
representative.
Should. Because Singapore is a hub for so much that design should also be right here. And we should be at the forefront of all of it.
Yes.
We should.
So can you imagine my disappointment when I went to Fine and I'm like, WTF is this?
Okay, so what was wrong with it? Like, lay it out. What was wrong with Fine?
I hadn't gone to the other 2 installments of Fine that was done to 2023, 2024. So this is my first time at Fine. And I find that there was a shocking lack of local exhibitors. There were some Hong Kongers, there were some Chinese, there was a huge Italian booth. The glassware was interesting, but it also came from some other countries as well.
Like Lithuania or something like that, right?
Yes, and I'm not saying they're not good. I think it's nice to have bit of international representation in a local fair like that, but I didn't really see the locals.
I don't know whether, I always assumed Fine to be somewhere that celebrated what was here on the ground, where I felt like what happened at this particular Fine was a lot of vendors searching for people to represent and distribute them.
Then I could have gone to those international exhibitions to go and look for...
Yeah.
To someone to look for things to represent in Singapore. So I thought it was a bit of a disservice.
So what specifically did you not like besides the entire...
That, and the second thing was there was an area where they were showcasing young designers. Mm-hmm. And not just in Singapore. So there were Singapore participants, and then there were those around the world mm-hmm. as well. And I was shocked. I just felt like it was off topic, because if this show is about design, why are they showing objects that felt more more arty? I'll give you an example, okay? There was this area where they had like chairs, sofas, you had fabric thrown onto it, and then you have like string just tied sort of haphazardly around it, and then they just displayed it and put it on the pedestal, and I'm like, it felt insulting to me, because here I am, a maker of like furniture in Singapore. I have to make sure that I don't have puckers, the seat comfort's right, the sofa bulges in the place it's supposed to bulge. And then someone comes along and like, hey, look at this, look at me, I've done a great thing. I mean...
I kind of loved it.
Did you? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm judging you right now.
I loved it because it was something that I had not seen. It felt in a way referential to, what is that like S&M thing that they do in Japan where they like tie you up?
Okay, I don't know the right term for it, but
But you know what I'm talking about. That like sort of.
were they going? Do you think they were going with that with the chairs?
I don't know where they were going, but
And let me start with that. If you're going to you're going to use that, bring in that Japanese BDSM sort of thing into the picture. There is an art, there is a technique to do that.
Yeah, I do have to say the nodding was not. It wasn't like fine nodding where you would see patterns or specific things like that. But it also sort of reminded me of something very like brutalist, almost maybe like if Rick Owens were to have thrown this out as part of his furniture collection. It's only because it was so weird that I was inspired because it was so weird. Which I'm so surprised that you just didn't see like an inspiration. I don't think that I would sit on it or do anything with it, but I think it was a catalyst for something that could happen.
I think that there is a little bit of curiosity, but there's nothing I could do. I could get out of it. What inspired you? What exactly inspired you? What would you have taken out from that exhibit, and what could you have done with it?
Calm down.
What?
Calm down. It was literally that it was different. You know what? Maybe it's me being really jaded over all the years that I've been in the industry. When I see something that is just so completely off base, it doesn't necessarily have to function, but I just thought, okay, so somebody's at least thinking outside of the box for some reason.
And I think this is the distinction that we have to make between art and design.
Yeah. Was this an art fair or was this a design fair?
Yes. Exactly. Was this an art fair or was this a design fair? Because I went in thinking it's a design fair. I'm not expecting to see things like that. And okay, I get that sometimes art and design can cross over, but I didn't even feel that was at that art sort of level. It felt, I'm sorry, it just felt very DIY. Why are you putting DIY stuff on the pedestal?
Okay, I can absolutely see that aspect. Yeah, it wasn't refined. Like that whole thing wasn't refined.
You agree?
Yeah, it wasn't.
You agree it's not refined. Do you think it's meant to be that way? That it's not meant to be refined?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I think it would have been more successful if the knots were done in a way where it felt very meticulous, and also if they, I don't know whether they did, but I didn't see it. If maybe they intentionally left raw edges exposed, where you knew that this was...
There were raw edges exposed, and that pissed me off. Because my customers will never let me,
But your customers would never buy that. So...
Yeah, so the question is, I think the litmus test is, would you put money on it?
I think the thing is, okay, so now I'm going back. As a sculptural art piece, I might do like a chair in a corner. To just be that weird.
Put a limelight on, put a light on it, and then put spotlight, and I was like, oh, okay, just like sort of representative of your personality and all.
Yeah, just sort of weird, kind of conceptual. I think that's what it was. It was very conceptual, but it wasn't refined conceptual.
I like how you're like valiantly trying to defend this piece of art.
I just thought it was interesting.
I don't know if you've seen, Balenciaga, the fashion brand Balenciaga. Do you know they've also like gone into furniture as well and doing very absurd things with it?
First of all, let's talk about that for 2 seconds and then we'll go back. How is it that fashion designers and fashion brands can just flip over and say, we are going to launch a home collection? There is nowhere in the world where there's an interior designer, furniture designer that flips over and says, I'm doing fashion now. And people are...
But it's only the big brands that are doing it. The big fashion brands are doing it.
But the fact that they can do it, why is it that it only goes in one direction and not the other?
All right, product designers, have you ever considered doing fashion design before? I think it's difficult, right? Because you have to understand the skill set for it. But when fashion designers do it, okay, let me think about this. When fashion designers do it, do they have the skill set to understand product design? It also sort of becomes a little bit of art because it's not really functional, right? Okay, let me talk about Balenciaga. And this is quite an offbeat brand. I mean, it's expensive and all, but so what they've done with the furniture is they've laid out, they piled a whole bunch of leftover waste, fabric waste, on top of each other, and then they use cable ties to tie it together, and then they call it a bench.
And they charge how much?
They make like maybe like 20, 50 pieces, and it's quite limited edition, and then they sell it for a whole bunch of money.
But again, I think that the people who are buying it are not actually buying it as a furniture piece; they're buying it as a statement, sort of art piece.
Yes, and you can do that because you've got very strong brand. So when small designers come to a fair like Fine and they try and do something similar, why? Okay, so let me examine myself. Why do I feel offended?
Yeah, why do you feel so offended?
But actually, when I look at Balenciaga, I also feel very offended as well. I'm like, WTF is this?
I think it's because you also come from a place where clients expect certain things from you. So for you to see other people getting away with things that you would never let happen,
because I could let it happen, but my customers would never let it happen.
No, but you would never your integrity would never let it happen.
Yes, I wouldn't as well. I know what my customers are expecting, and I wouldn't.
Which is completely fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was that. That's a moment in the fair. So like, what else in the fair was like so offensive? I do have to say though. So I did go to the first couple of iterations of Find, and I do have to say that the first year I feel like they were just trying to find their way. It was sort of a little haphazard. They didn't really have their footing. Second year, it could only sort of go up, which it did marginally. This year, what was interesting is a lot of the big players that were there the 2 previous years were not. So it felt...
Why?
So it felt like a different fair altogether because you sort of get used to seeing certain faces or expected to see certain faces, certain vendors, but they were not there. So it was also a very different experience again because you're walking in and
you're saying different, like, it's like a politically correct word to use.
Yeah.
Is there a right word to use here?
The stage for the speakers was better this year, absolutely. The VIP area was gorgeous. Okay. But I didn't understand who...
I like the VIP area.
Yeah.
I did like the VIP area.
But I don't understand who goes there.
Yeah.
Like what are you doing in that space?
Yeah.
Like I always the very first year that they had it, they called it a VIP area. It was literally behind like rod and pipe and drape, and it was just a random space. And I was like, what are you...
So this time around, they did dress it up, but then like you still don't know
what its purpose
is. Because I walked by it and then there was nobody. There was nobody in the lounge.
Because it's
nobody
not,
in that
it's
area.
not like free flow champagne is back there.
Maybe there is, or maybe there should be.
Well, there should be.
There should be free flow champagne in there.
And everybody wants.
Yeah.
It was the placement of it was also very odd. But I do have to say there were a handful of vendors there that I really enjoyed, like the glass. The glassware was.
The
really
glassware was not bad. The glassware was interesting. I think there was a real show of workmanship. I mean, they even had the craftsmen, doing the little etching.
Oh, but that was a Singapore brand. Do you know?
I did not know that was a Singapore brand.
So.
But why got more face?
No. So it's that Singapore brand that did wine stemware that won the Red Dot Award. So they brought him in just to do a collaboration to show.
Good on you. Good on you. I cannot remember your name now, but good on you. Good on you.
So they were Singaporean. I also think that some of the brands understood the assignment about what an experience should be. So I noticed that some of the more popular booths were like Arte, like wall covering, because they really did it. They really put the effort forward to look like we are matching the price point of what we do with the aesthetic of our booth, and they put in the time and effort, which I appreciate, because there were others, God bless their souls, that.
I think with any exhibition, there will always be like, fringe, the black sheeps, then they're sort of tucked in the corner and like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing here. I just dropped a whole bunch of money on a booth, but I don't really know what I'm doing here.
And a whole bunch it is. Like, I can't even imagine what they spent to be there and then have like a fold-out table and like little
samples, a set little rack. of like little samples. And then like when I walked out, there was a leather booth. They're selling like faux leather. And then I was just like, what do you guys do? Yeah, here. Have a look at this. Do you have samples? No, that's all I have. Like, okay, but it's not very exciting. No lighting. Not much. I don't understand what was
lighting. There was some lighting. Near the glass.
I think for some booths, some of the booths understood what it takes to be an exhibitor, but a lot of booths didn't. They were just like whatever was there, whatever was available.
I also have to say, this is a universal thing. If you're going to work a booth, you can't be shy, and you have to know how to speak.
I agree. And also, so I attended another exhibition prior to this, and as an exhibitor, not just as a participant. I was at a very different fair. I was at Pet Festival promoting our pet theme sofa. It was so fun there. I mean, yeah, they had a lot of dogs and cats, which I love, but there was a whole bunch of activities. There were competitions going on. I thought the booths made their unique selling points clearer than the booths at Fine. So my experience as a participant when I went to the exhibition at Fine was that I didn't understand what the booths were selling. Are you selling an ottoman? Are you selling furniture? Are you selling the fabric? Are you selling the structure? And I'm like, I don't really know, because they've just got that logo up there in the booth, and it's nicely make a nice like backlight and all that for it. But like, there's no other supporting posters or information tell me what you do.
Do you think that's purposely done so that you do come into the booth and
yes,
ask?
and I can't understand why, but a double-edged sword. I want if I don't see anything that I like, I'm not going to approach you and ask more information about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're a wall covering place and you have a whole setup with furniture and wall covering is just there, at least somewhere it should say wall covering.
Yeah.
So that oh, that's what I can, because if you go in and you're asking about the table and they're like, that's not ours, that's a prop.
Yeah, yeah. So not very helpful. I mean, as a maker, I don't know what it's like for you as a designer. Just, were there anything interesting about the exhibition that you felt like you could take home and then learn something from? Ha 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 ha.
Honestly, the only thing that I have multiple pictures of is the sofas wrapped up in the rope. Seriously.
And that infuriated me the most as well. The one with the sofas and the chairs wrapped up in the rope, with the rope.
I think
so. At least they've got a conversation out of us talking about this. Even if I'm like getting like,
which is what it is. Which is what I tell every single designer. All you want to do is provoke emotion, whether it's good, bad, hate, love. Provoke an emotion as opposed to just being forgotten.
I don't know about provoking the emotion of anger. I don't know about that, because it means that you may not get paid.
No, but it probably means that your tribe of people is going to love you even harder because you're so niche.
I just want to know who is actually loving those chairs and sofas.
Oh, come on.
Who would put money on it?
Defend me. If you went to Fine, you can do a Team Tyler or Team Ashley as to whether we like that kind of wrapped up thing.
Yeah, okay. Leave it in the comments and let us know. And it's Design Bitches out.
Bye, guys.